so you're all starting to get drag and drop system, and you click on the list and then you do this, and that sort of stuff is coming, is already here to an extent, and I think will continue to come.
Microsoft Excel is a great example of a way to produce, to create software, to write a program without writing a program at all. If the intended output is, I put in some numbers and I get a graph that tells me what's going on, you can do that without writing a single line.
I've been saying for a while that this kind of thing would never work, not because that you can't create software that can do this, but because you can't create software that does what you want, not what you said. And that's what programmers really do.
Yeah, but I think you're going to see abstractions in two dimensions. One, we don't think of abstractions, that there are. One, it is pure abstraction. In the pure abstraction level, most of the people on reasonably cutting-edge programming are working with either C# or C++ or some similar object-oriented language, and that's a completely different way of programming than what I wrote
Procedural programming.
You're right, and that is one layer of abstraction. But I think more importantly, what you're going to see is more and more abstraction in a box, middleware, toolkits. If you look at game companies today, the people who make Unreal spend an enormous amount of money building the toolkit to make Unreal look the way it looks, and they make a certain amount of money selling copies of Unreal. They also make an enormous amount of their profit taking that box, polishing it up a little bit, putting in the proper slots for you to put in coins and talk to it, and selling that to other gaming companies. And there are people who sell, Chapel Hill, there's a company that sells a particular class of physics tools for games, the way certain objects interact. The company that my friend works for, they are big in what's called terrain deformation, where you're in a game, you shoot a ball at the wall doesn't do anything, or maybe the wall shows you that it hit, but there wasn't actually a whole wall, whereas if I pull out a gun and wasn't arrested and actually shot the wall, assuming the money might hit the wall, there would actually be a hole in that wall. There would be dust, there would be all those effects. That's deforming the terrain of the game. If you look close to the game, suck at that, because it means that each of those pieces that is a wall has to have intelligence. Terrain deformation is another tool. I think you're going to see abstractions in a box that you can build into it.
And this ties into what we were talking about before, how all programs are built on the work of hundreds and hundreds of other people. I mean, what this is that we're seeing computing is drawing people together. You can't see all the people that are in your box, but there's literally thousands or millions of people behind every program.
We're also leaving out Benji's idea that in the future what we'll need is not just programmers, but also programmer archaeologists capable of going through layers and layers of old code to find out where this bug is really coming from.
Instead of just papering over it.
It's also game management optimization and computers about to do that. So the reason why most people use C++ is because it gives them enough control, because the higher level abstracting languages don't. If you could build it, if you've got more iron around, then basically you could build more optimization to give them
Joel Spolsky calls that wiki abstractions. The idea being is when you abstract something, the problem is you can't abstract it entirely, and it weaks, and so there's second order effects.
Yeah, but again, if you can throw more iron, if you can throw more iron, or computing power at optimizing that back out, then effectively, or possibly trying various solutions to see which one can come a lot faster, it's massively, then you get control back.
Back there, and
yeah, you talked about the Turing test of intelligence. To me, the more interesting question is when we have a competing system network, whatever you want to call it, that appears to be self-aware to whatever external test you want to apply to it. Then, do we get involved in the ethical question, is there anything wrong with unplugging it?
it's a separate question.
You're aware that we're living in a sim, right?
How could we tell? It's good enough!
That's actually my question. I saw an interview, Pete Oberman, they're interviewing scientists about virtual reality and modeling human and food and planetary behavior. And he said there was a 40% chance that we're living in the sim.
Actually, as I understand it, the chance is much greater than that. Because
Really?
the way the math works out is that
Everything works out for math.
the way the math works out is that there's a much higher percentage of a chance that if sims are possible, that we're actually in a sim than we're not, because there's only one timeline where everything's real, and then after that, there's millions and millions of people creating sims.
Or as my father always said,
the whole how do we know we're not just brains in a jar on some scientist's desk being probed with electrodes to feel things.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the brain in the dark question, I mean, this is where we leave technology and enter philosophy. Is, you know, you can't prove you're not a brain.
As does can you unplug it.
And so, we can't prove that we're not living in a simulation, or I can't prove that I'm not living in a simulation. I can't prove that I even exist. And this, you know, the question becomes: is this
You're all in a simulation.
You don't exist.
is this a worthwhile question to ask?
You know, the question I was getting at, more directly, is I'm not at all sure we can define this test to know something appears to be self-aware.
Right.
Once we define what that test is, we will get computing systems that will pass it. That doesn't mean they are. Okay, I'm not arguing they are.
If we get to a point where we have systems that are exhibiting that level of whatever you want to call it, intelligence, consciousness, apparent, whatever, then I agree there is an ethical question there, and you need solving it. My personal opinion is it's a very, very, very long time before we get my grandchildren to take it by hand.
I think by EM course or the machine stops. And what it is human beings are starting to do this now where they're interfacing through games. And they're becoming so involved with these virtual reality worlds that they're training.
It doesn't matter how you do it. You're still doing what humans do, which is you get together, you talk, and you have politics.
The problem is that the questions will be different, because an apparently self-aware machine can be backed up, turned off, and restored from backup.
Now you're
You
in
can't kill it.
chaos theory.
You can't kill it in the same way. And the question becomes, you know, is it moral to back up, turn off, and restore from backup a self-aware machine? The questions become different, and because different, there'll be new questions with new answers.